week 2 of Vox Machina.
Yes. There were 3
Fucking-
episodes for us.
This is very quickly
Oh,
becoming one of my favourite animated shows.
yes, now. I love that.
And I think what we need to do
Oh,
is get the boys in for an online D&D session. And
You're-
we just stream our POVs and we do it every fortnight on like a Sunday or whatever. Football season, American football season's over now, so most people will have Sundays free again.
we could see who wants to do D&D. I love D&D.
It'll be a proper noob run because I think only you and West have done it before.
Well, yeah, but that's...
And like me, Josh, and Luke, and anyone else who might want to do it would be pretty newbie with it. So we can just it can be just pure shenanigans. And there's, based on my limited understanding, there's like loads of really good online websites that give you everything you need to do to do it online.
Oh yeah, there's because I play D&D weekly and we do it all online. So there's plenty of stuff there. And to be honest, with that group, we can always just run a one shot and introduce everyone to it. But
Exactly.
Vox Machina is for someone who watched the live shows and getting to see more and more of this become anime, it's so fun seeing it converted over. And obviously we ended the first 3 episodes, episode 3 ended with Vex dying to the tomb, which, for context as to why she died straight off, it was because she crit failed on her death saving. So death saving, you get 3 attempts to roll. Well, if you get 3 fails, so roll under a 10, you're dead. 3 successes, you're alive again. If you get a crit fail, you get 2 failures. So she'd failed, got a crit fail, and then double failed. So then that was her dead before she even had chance to do anything.
It shocked me last week, and I was like, oh shit, that was a surprise. Yeah. Which I said last week.
You thought there was going to be a new character.
I think this is why I thought it's so good, because it feels so organic. Because you can't script someone rolling really badly and dying out of fucking nowhere.
Well, yeah,
so a story writer might never make a character die there because it makes no sense, but they're taken from the game that happened the way it happened. We don't have a choice but to kill this character off.
Exactly. It's one of those where someone writing this from scratch with no nothing they're working with, you're unlikely to kill off a main character right there. This is a character that you know.
Episode 3 of the 2nd season. What?
Yeah, so this ain't no Game of Thrones. They're not gonna just kill off. So exactly that. The live show plays into some great moments.
So I'm gonna talk through my mindset as we see the shithousery of what ensued.
Yes.
So obviously we're led to believe she's dead, and she is dead. And then our 2
Zara and Cash.
Yeah, our 2 friends rock back up, and Cash is like, "Oh, I can do this revival spell, but we need to be quick."
Yep.
So they try and do that, and I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's see how this goes." Then we get to see Vax is in a bit of a trance. He sees the Raven Queen. He's like, "This is fucking terrible. Take me, leave her alone."
Yeah.
We see the spell bubble going around Vex to show that they're trying to heal her, and she pierces the bubble and it breaks. And I'm like, oh shit, Vex is dead. That's not good. Then her spirit comes out of her body, and Vax is like, no, fuck you, leave my sister alone, take me. And then she cuts the string, and I'm like, oh, Vex is dead. And then Vex wakes up, and I'm bare confused. For a second, I'm like, okay, so the string's been cut. Oh, is the Raven Queen inhabited her body? That'd be fucking wild. And then it cuts over to Vax. I'm like, oh shit, is Vax dead? Did she actually take him? And then he's just in new armor, looking a bit confused. So he might have just sold his soul to D&D Devil. Is the kind of vibe.
Yes and no. I mean, technically no, because D&D Devil is that would be a much worse deal. The Raven Queen is the goddess of death. So there is a certain essence of the deal. There was definitely a deal made, whether characters knew they'd made a deal or...
It was a bad faith deal, and I'm sure if he got a good lawyer, he could get out of it.
Don't know about that one.
I didn't sign anything.
So yeah, to put it in terms of what happened alongside the live show, Revivify spell is something that has to be done within 1 minute of the character being dead. So that's why they got to do it quick. They're currently in the Raven Queen Temple, so the temple of the goddess of death. Like the strongest death essence area of the material plane that you could probably have. So a Revivify spell is basically impossible because you in Death's house. You ain't stopping someone dying in Death's house. Which is the whole bubble.
I imagine though.
Yeah. So that's what the visualization of the bubble is. It's like the spell and then the Raven Queen's piercing it to basically be like, no, this ain't happening. The tether is, I think, their way of showing the connection that Vex and Vax have because they're twins. That's why they're like tethered to each other. And Vax in the live show makes this comment of like, no, take me. And Vex wakes up. The party, from the party's perspective and the character's perspective, the spell worked. Vex woke up because no one saw what Vax saw. No one, like Vax shouting out to the Raven Queen wasn't IRL, like that was in his vision that he was seeing. Like, so no one heard that. None of that happened. He would just be sat there in a trance. He essentially has made seemingly some deal with the Raven Queen, whether he believes he has or not. Whether that comes to fruition or not, we'll have to wait and see. But you're definitely on the right track in thinking, oh shit, this man sold his soul to the devil. Less sold his soul to the devil, more locked his soul into a predetermined exit at some point, shall we say. He's on a timed contract now. So yeah, they make the spell work and then Vex is alive. No new character has to be rolled. We're cool. The twins live on. And then as they're trying to leave, Zara does another sly thing, trying to get the vestige off them by summoning a totally not identical or related in any way to a D&D official beholder. This is something totally different legally speaking.
Just a big eye thing with tentacles.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely may or may not
Everyone
have been
has a big
beholder
eye thing
in
with
the live
tentacles.
show. But yeah, like in this animated, not beholder in the live show it was, but it makes no difference. Big creature. But we saw it come from a Pokeball, as I like to call it. And I think even the group called it a Pokeball.
I mean, it's the only kind of common pop culture thing that does that kind of thing. So like, it's an easy way for everyone to know what the thing does. Yeah, 100%.
So this gives us an opportunity to watch kind of Vax go full ham and show off his new gear, of which they've kind of blended a few of his things, like his boots of haste. He has like a blink dagger and the vestige all kind of gets blended into this idea of like this glowing armor that means he can do some fucking mad shit, and he can double dash,
through people.
There was a joke because he's a rogue, like he could just go dagger, 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 and like it was just constant dagger attacks with sneak. Like he did mad damage. So yeah, we get to see him like do some like very, very well animated fight.
Well, he's like the champion of death now. He's pretty fucking good at delivering death.
Yeah. And he fucking goes off. And then obviously Zara and Cash feel bad, so they make up for it and gives Vex the Pokeball for Trinket, which is basically Matt's way of being like, here was an item.
You can't have a super powerful bear at all times.
Well, no, it was actually because the bear wasn't that strong health-wise. So the issue they were having is like, Vex would not want to use Trinket in a fight in case he died, because no one wants their little companion animal to die, because that's sad. It's like having a dog and being like, no, I don't want the dog to fight. I don't want the dog to die.
Not Toto.
Yeah, so it's like, it was a way for Matt to give her a way to keep the bear safe if needs be.
Trinket, I choose you.
Literally. And then that episode ends with a woman watching them, scrying on them, called Anna Ripley, as we learn a little bit later on in the 3 episodes. But Anna Ripley... link there is we saw when Percy went to get black powder from, I forget the crazy guy's name, it's out of my head.
The Mr. Blowy stuff up guy.
He mentioned that a woman had been by and bought some recently, that it was Anna Ripley. So she will start to play a bigger part now that we've been introduced to her. And then episode 2 was Keyleth's Aramente, mainly.
Yes.
We saw a
The
flashback.
second episode of this three, although all
Yeah.
three were fucking brilliant, just to be
Yes.
clear, might have been my favorite because I felt so far I'd had like Keyleth got the smallest amount of fucks given from me.
I
Don't get
get
me
you.
wrong, they're doing a good job of making all of the characters likable, and I do care about all of them. But there is always going to be a character that you care about the least. And for me, at that up until then, it was Keyleth.
Do you know what's funny? You saying that, rightly or wrongly so, in a way, mirrored how the Critical Role community kind of felt towards Keyleth's character. Because her character was very naive, always wanted to try and do the best, but was a bit like, you see it, like her character was a bit scared to do things, was kind of
Scared of
avoiding
literally anything. Yeah.
avoiding responsibility and just, but then was a bit naive to things and stuff. And often she would play a character like that and obviously make suggestions that kind of, from an outside perspective, like, what a dumb idea that is. Or like, so her character actually got some hate, not from like proper fans, but you know what it's like with any sort of
People
show.
who were just too invested and going a bit parasocial with
Yeah, yes, exactly.
it.
So it's weird that like they've managed to kind of actually in a way sell that in the show to then do this episode, which suddenly locks everyone a lot more into, oh shit, this is Keyleth's character.
Do you know what I found really funny about that though?
Go on.
Because Keyleth then shot up in Who I Gave a Fuck About, Scanlan was at the bottom.
Oh, and then
And then the
fixed,
very next episode.
they fixed that.
Yeah.
Which this
Yeah, I
this
think
comes
it's
down
perfect.
to, it's also Matt's way of like making sure all the characters were getting their story arcs like in tandem of stuff going on. But yeah, we saw a flashback of when Keyleth was a kid, and a mum going off on an Aramente and showing the elements, and like very much so is this is Avatar: The Last Airbender going on his like got to train all the elements thing. That is very much where this came from. Keyleth, Marisha has said like that was a big inspiration to the character's backstory. And fun fact, Keyleth's mum's voice actor was also the voice actor for Korra in Legend of Korra. So
Which
really,
is fucking awesome, bearing in mind like how obvious of
yes.
a Avatar inspiration there is.
Like I guarantee they've purposefully like they've got to this point gone, we want the person who voice acts Keyleth's mum to, like, we need to have some actual connection to the Avatar there. Like purposefully have gone to her and got her to do it. And then Sam Riegel,
and
who plays,
also, let's not forget them Amazon checks clear so they can get
True.
whoever the fuck they want.
That's true. That's very true. And then also, fun fact: Sam Riegel's kid plays Kid Keyleth, so that's a fun little keeping it in the family sort of thing. And yeah, so we got to see Keyleth essentially doing part of her Aramente by going to help the Fire Nation, who in this sense are not evil.
Yeah, they did not attack in this world.
No, they protect. They do not attack; they just protect. But we saw some pretty cool moments. We got to know that the two women who we thought died in the city, I forgot their names, have gone straight out of my head.
Hera and someone
Yes,
else.
they're alive. They escaped. They explain this is where Fordak came from.
Rosa. Sorry.
This is where Fordak came from, and then they tried to like banish him there, and it's all gone wrong. So Keyleth goes through a really cool
I've got to be
breakthrough
honest, in a
moment.
lot of these fantasy worlds,
Yeah.
they try really hard to banish people and it never works. They just need to get to killing.
Yeah. But I think it's like Fordak is a powerful dragon. It's that idea that like the idea is your average, even hero, can't beat them. So like, well, we banish him then. We do the next best thing. But I like they showed some of that, and then we got to see a fun scene as well. Also went on. Meanwhile, in this episode, we got some more Grog with his sword. And one last week, I was talking about
so fucking funny.
There's some funny moments that are going to come up with the sword. This was one of them where Grog goes for a shit in quotation marks and actually wanted to go speak to the sword, and obviously does this in live show, and it's like Sam's character comes along to go check on him and finds him talking to himself, which from the outside is like, you're talking to your shit. And then Grog plays it off as like, yeah, I'm just dominating my poop.
Yeah, just let my shit know who's boss. It's so dumb, and I have to give so much respect for the person who played Grog, because to
Travis.
act so much dumber than you are is
Yeah.
difficult.
Oh
The only
yeah.
thing more difficult is acting smarter than you are.
Yes. Acting like a
But
highly intelligent.
yeah, but acting that dumb, and like making just objectively bad decisions because my character's a dumbass.
Yes.
He wouldn't do the smart thing here. Must be so. It's a whole new level of throwing for content.
Yeah, it really is.
Because like
And
a
yeah,
smart character would go, "Hey guys, my sword keeps telling me it's hungry.
yeah. Whereas this guy's
I
like,
am concerned."
this big, powerful sword talking to me, but make me stronger, so I don't want to tell anyone because he knows they'll take it off him, and
Yeah,
his characters wouldn't want
he's
that.
like a naughty child.
Yeah, no, literally, that's like the biggest. He's like a child. He's like a little kid who's got this thing that he knows his parents would say no to, but he's hiding it. So we got that funny scene, and we also got the broom revealed, which was one of the items stolen from.
Not stolen from, given from.
Well, given, stolen. It's kind of memed in the live show that they
The
stole it.
shopkeeper kind of said, "Take what you want." It's all been destroyed anyway.
For the animated, and I think in the show it's a bit more like they just take it, and it's less like verbally said. The funny thing is, there was pre so the bit of the campaign that they were doing before it became a live show, they used to have a flying carpet that was
Okay.
very strong because multiple people could sit on it,
Yeah.
and Matt found a way to burn it in fire.
He nicked that shit in the
Yeah,
bud.
he found a way to get rid of that thing. This was his way of letting them fly. One of the characters fly again, who could not fly, and is adds a bit more like fun into it. And we got to see during all this, then they're fighting the rift. Keyleth becomes a fire elemental to shut the rift, which visually was stunning. The way that they did that, and like this
Yes.
breakthrough moment for her character.
Do you know what it gave big energy of? Do you remember in this is a fucking throwback here?
Oh shit!
Do you remember in X2, the second X-Men film, where Jean dies and gets taken over by the Phoenix Force?
Oh
And you've got
yeah,
like that big kind of like energy bubble, and she's like,
yeah.
it had big kind of that visuals going on.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, it's like one of the first breakthrough moments, and it's essentially this is her completing her fire part of the Aramente, basically like approving herself of her powers, and she shuts the rift. Vax giving her a staff back was a nice little callback to a line from season 1, and Scanlan gets his favor from Vex, which, as you're picking up on Scanlan's character, you do not want to owe Scanlan a favor.
No,
Like
you really don't.
he is going to pull that out at any moment that he wants. And if I remember correctly, it's such a great way that he uses it, and at such a great moment. So I'm looking forward to when that comes to fruition. Probably not till season 3.
Do you know what else the funny thing about this D&D campaign is? Like the storytelling aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Normally in a show, if you have a scumbag character like Scanlan,
Mm.
you have to make an effort to redeem them as a person.
Yes.
Just because of the way stories are written. Look at Howard in Big Bang Theory. He goes from
Yeah.
being a creepy perv to being a loving husband. They don't have to do that, because if the person who's playing D&D is just like, no, my guy's going to be an asshole, they were an asshole for the entire campaign. You can't change that.
So, yeah, we're seeing it a little bit in the animated show of how they're portraying it. It's like there's a moment where Scanlan makes a joke and Pike goes, "Can you never be genuine?" And it's this idea that like, is everything always a joke with you, Scanlan? Like, he's clearly the character that hides everything in a joke in a way.
Yeah.
And through the live show, obviously that develops, and we'll see that in the animation over time. Like, his character does go through a development. He is still the charming. He will always be the charming, like jokey character,
I
but
will sleep with
definitely,
everyone.
yeah, but definitely like his he grows as a person would through all
Mm.
these. Like he does develop to be less of a scumbag and more just a charming, like nice, like guy. Obviously, D&D is a long campaign. Like this happens over a lot longer of a time. For like people that watch the live show, that was over um 3 years. I think the campaign was going for 3 years. So it's like like you're watching every episode, like it's a slow burn for his
Yeah.
character. So I'm looking forward to like as you like you're bringing it up, like seeing that in the anime is going to be interesting. Um,
Um, and then we had our second Sphinx.
yes, which mirroring the live game, this was a puzzle. It was very differently played out, and this time we actually got a Sphinx and had like an actual um kind of a fight sort of action thing, which I'm all for them changing things in this way, like to make it more entertaining for the animation side.
It didn't feel like it was changed, if that
No,
makes sense. It still fit in perfectly.
yeah, yeah,
So as long as they're going to be, I guess, surgical is the right word with it. So they're just going to change stuff when they absolutely have to make it flow.
hmm
I don't think it's an issue. Um,
um,
as a
yes,
viewer, I didn't go, "Oh, that feels a bit out of
yeah,
place."
no, they're like this. Obviously, Matt's the one writing, so everything's gonna flow perfectly. Like even if they change stuff, like it's gonna be unnoticeable. It's like, but I'm all for them tweaking things because it's also another positive to it is like for people that have watched the live show, it makes this even more interesting because we're like, "Ooh, this is new. Like this is something that like I like this hasn't happened. This is cool." So it's like getting to see like a whole new like bit of the story. Um, so yeah, we get to see this how everyone tries to like make the Sphinx feel pain as you would by hitting it.
No,
Um,
I'm telling you, you just hurl insults at it until it cries.
yeah, you use a spell named Vicious Mockery, which the first take of this I explained is there's a spell where you can hurl an insult and roll to do damage.
The song was such a banger. Like, had
The,
no need to go that hard.
oh,
No need.
the song was great, written by Sam, sung by Sam. Obviously, you had the voice of the female Sphinx as well.
Yeah.
Um, that song was great, amazing song for someone who's a voice actor. Like he has just a great voice on him, does Sam Riegel, and he succeeds. We also saw in that moment of like Grog, what would happen if he didn't feed, like it withered his arm to kind of show him this is what I can do. I can take from you. Grog starting now to be like, oh shit, this sword is maybe not great for me. Maybe this is a bad sword.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he isn't like me and just likes killing stuff. Maybe he's like worse.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
maintain, just get rid of the fucking sword.
yeah, but a big strong sword make big strong man stronger.
He is a big, strong man. He can punch stuff until he finds another weapon.
um, and so Scanlan succeeds, song's amazing, and he earns himself Myth Carver. Now, he also has a vision. He sees a
Yeah.
bow, which is a vestige. Shocker. Who's that for? Vex. And we see gauntlets that are currently on a Grog's uncle.
Is it
Um,
Grog's uncle?
yes. So Grog knows of that item. He has seen that item before. For those, I don't know if it's very well explained yet in the animation, but essentially Grog left his tribe because he didn't agree. Goliaths are very think Dothraki. Oh, you haven't seen Game of Thrones. That just oof. Think like barbarian, like rough, like brutal pillage things. They just move on as a tribe, pillage another place. Like that's the Goliath life. So Grog left that because he didn't agree with it. Um,
Got ya.
so definitely some family things that he doesn't want to face. And then while they're all waking up and having a good old time, we have the black dragon, I forget its name, rocks up, has found them, and we get a big old. Now the Sphinx is really feeling pain.
That Sphinx on Dragon Fight scene was so awesome, but I've
Oh,
got to say, the dragon's opening line of "Aren't you supposed to be extinct?" go so fucking hard.
Yeah, it was such a good like visual fight to watch, like a sphinx and a dragon, like these two huge mythical creatures like just fighting it out. It was brutal, and then it ends with Myth Carver getting stolen. So there's a lot of theories as to what, because this doesn't happen in the live show. This is all different. Um, People are theorizing Matt's changed this because Sam never really used Myth Carver. He got this vestige, and I think
I've
he
just
used
never
it.
used it.
He used it like once,
Okay.
because he would use his spells all the time. He never would stab things. So everyone's like, "This is Matt getting back at Sam because he never used it." So in the animated show, he's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna yoink it back off you," which it could be. It could also. I think it's just like Matt making the story flow a bit better. Um, but yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, this is just Matt getting back at Sam for not using this cool item he came up with." Um,
Fair enough. If you're not going to use it, I'm going to fucking take it off you.
exactly. And then we also Grog, full of rage, fighting, and fueled by the thirst from the sword. Um, Pike goes to stop him and gets stabbed. Um, Meanwhile, Keyleth's trying to do a teleportation spell, and as they're all about to leave, they get hit, which is what causes them to split because it fucks up the spell. It
Yeah.
succeeds, but like in a messed up way.
So
Um,
it looks like, although we only see where Keyleth and Co end up, which is the really goofy looking
Feywild,
place. Yeah.
yes,
We didn't see where the other half landed,
no,
but I think it's the safe and logical assumption to assume they landed near the other location we saw from the vestige, which will be where the barbarian or the Goliaths have just been through, or where they currently
I
are, or
can't
nearby.
remember off the top of my head. They definitely landed in the Feywild, and they end up meeting up. So something, and that's where the episode ends.
Yes.
So Grog ended up kind of living out part of his nightmare, of which I will say also something to go back to that nightmare. Obviously, they all voice that the scream that Ashley does as Pike when like Grog stabbed her in the nightmare was just like
Yeah, it's
brutal.
rough.
Something as well, though, obviously they've been doing interviews as these episodes have been coming out. During the live show, this is when Ashley Johnson was filming for Blind Spot, which was a TV show. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of time she wasn't there for weeks. And because it was a live show, like she was happy with them to keep playing. If she could, she'd like video call in and play, or sometimes she just wouldn't, and Matt would run them, or like the other guys would like play her character for her. Her and Matt have been having fun because for her, doing this animated show is actually letting her, in a way, rewrite Pike's story a little bit
Yeah.
because they worked around the fact she wasn't there. So Matt did what he had to do to make it work, and like they just worked around it and worked it into the story the best they could. This allows them like full freedom to like actually write it out in a way that they want it to go and make some tweaks to what happens to her character and different things. So I think there's a few little things have been changed, but actually it's been enjoyable to see like Pike's character more feel like, because she wasn't like some the games where they would play her. Obviously she's there, but you don't feel like she was there because she's not there playing a character. You kind of forget that, oh yeah, Pike's there with them. Um, it's fun to have like get to feel that the whole group was there through these moments. And then we'll get 3 more episodes today as you're listening to this, and
Yeah.
it's gonna it's gonna be good. I'm trying to think ahead now. I know there's gonna be a shenanigan with the broom,
Yeah.
because Vex has to learn how to use it, and there's a very funny moment, like typical D&D party fucking about together, and someone rolls badly, and different things happen. Feywild, if I remember rightly, Grog has another funny interaction moment, and we might also see some beard shenanigans, which I talked about last week and we haven't yet had.
Yeah.
There is definitely beard and prank shenanigans that do happen, and I'm waiting to see some of them be involved. So looking forward to these next 3 episodes.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm loving it so much. I'm so down to try and get a D&D group going.
Yeah.
Now that we've had Hori's turn to be an expert, it's my turn to be an expert.